As I heard the story of a stolen body, a tragic death and a gruesome crematorium massacre, I got full body chills as I shudder at the sight of what remains of the old Georgetown morgue. Welcome to my channel, Enlightenment in the Darkness. Upon first glance, the former Georgetown morgue hardly stands out in appearance amidst industrial South Seattle on East Marginal Way. If I were not aware of the morbid events that apparently took place in that morgue, I would have thought there was nothing frightening about this particular building. Going to the library and scanning through reel after reel of microfilm, there was nothing to prove that the morgue even existed. But how can one explain the physical existence of the building? Or how 9 employees disappeared one night? The current building has undergone major renovations since it was first called Calling Mortuary Services of Seattle in 1928. At that time, the 3-story facility was used to process and prepare the deceased for funerals. In 1939, Charles and Henry Brodin bought the mortuary and the name changed to Brodin Brothers Funeral Services. By 1943, they had built a crematorium that prepared about 100 bodies a day. Along with the crematorium, there are 2 on 110-foot-high smokestacks were also added to the extended facilities. Charles and his wife lived in the brick home connected to the mortuary. During the Brodin brothers' ownership, a series of horrific events occurred. Supposedly, in 1947, jazz trumpeter John Figgy Dorsey's body was reported missing from the embalming table at the Brodin brothers mortuary. The dead man was found the next morning on Mrs. Dorsey's front lawn at her home in Ballard, cut into pieces. She sent the body parts back to Brodin brothers so they could piece him back together for his funeral, but the explanation as to who committed this horrific act, and why, is still unknown. Figgy Dorsey was also a shady figure. There were 2 jazz musicians named Dorsey, a Jimmy and a Tommy, but no Figgy. But the story gets stranger. A tragic incident occurred April 29, 1965, involving one of the Brodin brothers, Charles. A strong earthquake rocked the Pacific Northwest early in the morning, according to the Seattle Times. While most businesses only had minimal damage, one of the towers of the mortuary caved and destroyed the west wing of the building, killing Charles. While death is natural at a mortuary, it seems to haunt the Brodin brothers' funeral home from that tragic day up to today. October 25, 1968. On that night, dark cold, 9 employees of the morgue were having a business meeting when armed men came in and bound every Brodin brothers employee. According to the historic morgue, Societide employees were supposedly forced in the crematorium and all burned alive. Even now, this gruesome crime is still unsolved and seems to be dead and buried, so much so that there is no record of it. Could this have been a shady deal gone bad? Without any living employees, the city of Seattle acquired the funeral services facility and turned it into the Georgetown Morgue in 1969. The crematory was used to process animal carcasses instead. In 1989, the Richland Processing Corporation, which, like Figgy, is also nowhere to be found, bought the morgue from the city and made it into a meat-packing transport station, though the building has been significantly remodeled. The aged brick walls of the home, mossy dilapidated roof and windows covered up by wooden panes are the only hints of the morgue's shady past. Supposedly, Charles' wife continued to live there after his death, until she did away with herself in 1979. The house still exists today. Currently, a haunted house, created by the company Seattle Haunts, occupies the space of the former Georgetown Morgue and will be the tenant for the next 5 years. Scott Culling, co-owner of Haunts Northwest and, curiously, sharing the name of the original morgue. Even without actors and with the lights on, the sudden hisses and the blood-stained walls leaves you with full-body chills. The haunted house plays on the terrifying history of the building, true or not. Some scenes are even designed like a morgue, with bloodied bodies cut open on autopsy tables and butchered pigs hanging from the ceilings like at a meat-packing company. Being in this building has given the haunted house a really eerie feeling. The actors make you like you're part of the scene. Their job is to get you good. However, if you believe the whole story or not, the haunted house is a frightening experience and does not disappoint. You might also come in contact with the other side when you walk through Black Diamond Cemetery. Many people have reported hearing ominous whistling sounds even when no one else was there. So what are your thoughts about Georgetown Morgue and its shady past? Please feel free to comment your thoughts below. I would like to thank you for joining me here today on my channel, Enlightenment in the Darkness. Please like and subscribe to my content. Many blessings to the rest of your day.